Namaste students. Today in this video I am going to discuss the two important topics. First, nominal and real GDP, and the second, the relationship between GDP and welfare. So first, see what is nominal GDP and real GDP. So here it is given. See this one implicit assumption in all this discussion is that the prices of goods and services do not change during the period of our study. Means whatever we have discussed here, that is suppose GDP, GNP, NNP, national disposable income, personal income, private income, we never discuss about the changes of price. So here, why the change in price need to discuss? Because if prices change, then there may be difficulties in comparing GDP. Means if prices change, then we cannot able to calculate the real GDP increase or decrease. So that we need the nominal and real GDP. Again, you see, is the standard of living rising, or does it just appear that way? Is an economy producing and consuming more goods and services? Does it just look that way because prices are rising? In this video, you will develop a deeper understanding of GDP as you learn how it is measured, both including and excluding the effect of inflation. But when we will examining economic statistics, there is a crucial distinction you need to be aware of. The distinction is between nominal and real GDP measurement, which refer the whether or not the measurement has been connected for inflation distorts economic magnitude, making them look bigger than they really are. So here see, if the measure the GDP of a country in 2 consecutive years and see that the figure for GDP of the latter year is twice that of the previous year. So you may conclude that the volume of production of the country has doubled, but it is possible only when that only prices of all goods and services have doubled between the 2 years, whereas the production has remained constant. Means if prices of goods and services increases, by seeing in the sciences of prices, we cannot say that the economy of the country is developed, because only the prices of goods and services only increase, but in real terms the production of the goods is not increase. So when we will know the exact production decrease or increase rate, then we can say that the economy is developed. But seeing the price of the economy, we cannot say that the GDP of the country is increased. So let's see. Therefore, in order to compare the GDP figure and other macroeconomic variables to different countries, or to compare the GDP figure of the same country at different points of time, we cannot rely on GDPs evaluated at current market prices. For comparison, we take the help of real GDP. So what is real GDP? See this important point. What is real GDP? Real GDP is calculated in a way such that the goods and services are evaluated at some constant set of prices or constant price. Means real GDP is calculated depending on the base price or the previous price. So since these prices remain fixed, if real GDP changes, we can be sure that it is the volume of production which is undergoing changes. But then what is nominal GDP? Nominal GDP is see on the other hand, is simply the value of GDP at the current prevailing prices. So first see, real GDP is calculated on the constant set of prices, but nominal GDP is calculated on the current prevailing price. So difference is already come out, but to better understand, let's see the example. Suppose a country only produce bread in the year 2000. It had produced suppose 100 units. Let's see this is very carefully. Here it is said that in 2000 how many units is produced? 100. Prices was suppose 10 per unit. Again see that GDP at current prices was 1000. Means if we multiply this 10 with 100 units, then we will get 1000 rupees. This is the production depending on the current price. Suppose if we take 2001, the same country produce suppose 110 units, and the price is now changes suppose 15. Earlier what was the price? 10, but now it is 15. So now see, if we multiply 110 with 15, then we will get what? This much. So now see, if we see the changes in 2000 and 2001, there is a difference. Only the price of the commodities increase and the production is little bit increase, but there is a vast differences. So that is why real GDP in 2001 calculated at the price of the year 2000, then we will get how much? Only 1100 means in 2001 production is 110 and the price was suppose 15, then we will get this. If we take the price, the 2000 year price, then we will get the 1100 production. So this is the difference between the real GDP and nominal GDP. So real GDP is calculated on the base of previous year or base year price. Base year means here we have taken 2 years, 2001 and 2000. So 2000, the price of 2000 will be considered as the base price, and price of 2001 it will consider as the current price. So when we will multiply with the base year and current price, we will get this difference. So this is the difference between the real GDP and nominal GDP. So real GDP gives us the real development of the economy and the real production of the economy. Because when production will increase, then we can say that the economy is developed. But when price changes but production remain constant, then we cannot say that it is a developed. Now see the next. So here notice that the ratio of nominal GDP to real GDP gives us an idea of how prices have moved from the base year, the year whose prices are being used calculated the real GDP, to the current year. In the calculation of real and nominal GDP of the current year, the volume of production is fixed. Therefore, if these measures differ, it is only due to change in price level between the base year and current year. The ratio of nominal to real GDP is well-known index of prices, and this is called the GDP deflator. So now see, we getting one word. This is GDP deflator, and the formula is that this is the formula: GDP deflator equals capital GDP divided by small GDP. Capital GDP is known as the nominal GDP and small GDP is known as the real GDP. So, what is the importance of GDP deflator? The GDP deflator helps to measure the changes in prices when comparing nominal to real GDP over several periods. The deflator is important because, as we saw in our example, comparing GDP from two different years can give a deceptive result, mean not giving the clear result. If there is a changes in price between the 2 years, we can see the first difference. So GDP deflator will give us the how many times it increased the price relating to the base year and current year. So here, so that we have to see this. Thus, if GDP, capital GDP stand for nominal GDP and small GDP stand for real GDP, then GDP deflator will be, this is the formula. So here see, sometimes the deflator is also denoted in percentage terms. In such a case, deflator formula will be this. In the previous example, the GDP deflator is this. If we put the value, the nominal GDP and real GDP, then we will get this 1.50. So in percentage terms, this is 150%. So this implies that, what implies? This implies that the price of bread produced in 2000 was 1.5 times the price in 2000, which is true because price of bread has indeed gone up from 10 to 15. Like GDP deflator, we can have GNP deflator. So here see, by GDP deflator we can easily understand how price is gone up. So this is 10 to 15. So whatever the process we use to find out the GDP deflator, that formula we can use for the GNP deflator as well. After that, see next. There is another way to measure change of prices in an economy, which is known as the consumer price index. Already we got GDP deflator. GDP deflator used to what? To know the price changes, to measure the price changes of price of an economy. So like that, the second measure to change of prices in an economy, this is consumer price index, CPI. This is actually, this is you have got already in class 11. So what is this? Let's see. So this is an index of price of a given basket of commodities which are bought by the representative consumer. CPI is generally expressed in percentage terms. We have 2 years under consideration. One is base year, the other is the current year. We calculate the cost of purchase of a given basket of commodities in the base year. We also calculate the cost of purchase of the same basket in the current year. So then we express the latter as percentage of the former. So this gives us the consumer price index of the current year vis-a-vis the base. Okay, for consumer price index, here example is given. Let us see the example. A representative consumer buys suppose 90 kg of rice and 5 pieces of cloth in a year. Suppose in the year 2000, the price of a kg of rice was suppose rupees 10 and piece of cloth is suppose 100. So the consumer had to spend a total sum of rupees 10 into 90, means which was the earlier price. It is 900 on rice in 2000. Similarly, she spent rupees 100 into 5, rupees 500 per year on cloth, and summation of the two items is suppose 900 plus 500, it is 1400. Now see, now what is said, now see, suppose the prices of a kg of rice and prices of cloth has gone up rupees 15 and rupees 120 in the year 2005. To buy the same quantity of rice and clothes, the representative will have to spend 1,350 and 600 respectively. Now her total sum will be this. You see, in 2000, according to price, her total sum of expense is 1,400. Now in 2005, due to the changes of price, she have to pay this. So this is the difference. Now when we will find out the CPI, then we have to put this value like this. See, this is 1,950 divided by 1,400 into 100, so 139.29 approximately. So here it is. See, it is worth nothing that many commodities have two sets of price. One is the retailer price. Okay, before going that, again see here. So here see the difference. So again, if we recall that GDP deflator, here also we got the changes of price. How it is changes? Here also the changes of price. Again, after these two, this GDP deflator and consumer price index, again one index is given to measure the changes of price, that is known as the wholesale price index. This is WPI. So let's see. It is worth nothing that many commodities have two sets of prices. One is the retail price, which the consumer actually pays, and the other is wholesale price, the price at which goods are traded in bulk. These two may differ in value because of the margin kept by traders. You see, retailer and wholesaler price. Retailer means when individual consumer consume or bought something from a shop, single unit, that is called consumer. This is retailer price. And wholesaler price means who are traded in bulk, means large amount of goods. So then we can see the difference. Retailer price, whatever price is taken by the seller by selling at the time of goods, this is difference that when a person buying at a large amount, the price of per unit is less, because in wholesaler price is taking less than the retailer price. So like CPI means consumer price index, the index of wholesale price is also called wholesaler price index. In countries like USA it is known as the what? Producer price index, PPI. So in this way, by these three measures for the changes of price in the economy, one is deflator, GDP deflator, next consumer price index, and last is wholesale price index. These three convey as images of the changes of prices in the economy. After that, next see, notice CPI and analogously means in oppositely WPI may differ from GDP deflator because what is the difference? See, the goods purchased by consumer do not represent all the goods which are produced in a country. GDP deflator takes into account all such goods and services. Means what? Consumer, whatever goods is produced in the economy, consumer do not represent all the goods. But GDP what? GDP reflects all the goods, because in GDP deflator we take real GDP and nominal GDP. So in real GDP and nominal GDP we include all the goods and services produced in the economy during a period of time. But in consumer, they only buying only small parts, not whole. So that is there is a difference. That is why GDP includes all such goods and services, and CPI includes price of goods consumed by the representative consumer. Hence, it includes prices of imported goods. GDP deflator does not include prices of imported goods. Consumer price index, suppose some goods, consumer whatever they need, so they buying goods which is imported also. But in GDP deflator, it includes the prices, it does not include the prices of imported goods. Means in GDP deflator, GDP means what? Gross domestic product, means whatever is produced within our country. So in GDP deflator, we only take the prices of goods and services whatever is produced within our country. So that is the difference. So next, GDP, next is the weights are constant in CPI, consumer price index, but they differ according to production level of each goods in GDP deflator. So what is this? In the weight are constant in consumer price index, means a price is fixed, whatever goods will be given. But in GDP deflator, we will take the prices, so it may be differ to production level of each goods. So in GDP deflator, we will take the real production and nominal production. But in CPI, what is the representative I am telling? The representative buying only a small part, small things, few goods. So constant, the weight of that goods will constant. But in GDP deflator, we will include all the goods and services. So that is why, so according to production level, each the weight will be different. So this is all about the GDP deflator and wholesale price index, consumer price index, and real GDP and nominal GDP. So next topic is, what is GDP and welfare? Means what is the relation between GDP and welfare? This is important terms, and on this topic definitely in your exam question will come. So why it is need to discuss? You see, if GDP of a country is increased, we cannot say that the economy of the country is developed. So there are many reasons why we cannot say that GDP is increased, economy is not developed. So there are different reasons. See here. Can the GDP of a country be taken as an index of an welfare of the people of that country? If a person has more income, he or she can buy more goods and services, and his or her material well-being improves. So it may seem reasonable to treat his or her income level as his or her level of well-being. GDP is the sum of total value of goods and services created within the geographical boundary of a country in a particular year. So it gets distributed among the people as income except for retained earnings. So we may be tempted to treat higher level of GDP of a country as an index of greater well-being of people of that country. So you see, if a country's only the small section of people are able to living in high standard, suppose they are able to earn more income and they are suppose able to get more salary, and they can able to sustain with the inflation prices. But those people who are not equally developed with the rich people, then their condition will be very bad. So if GDP is increased, we cannot say that in the society all the people of the society will develop, because here example we'll see, distribution of GDP means whatever the production will be done within our country, that is known as money value of that goods will be the GDP. This GDP what? This GDP is distributed among the people. How it is distributed? When we will work in a industry, for that we will get the income. When we will get the land, for that we will get the rent. So when we will organize the industry, then for entrepreneur they will get the profit. So this is the reward. So when this reward will go only the small parts of the section of the society, then other section, suppose they are unable to got, then their condition will be very bad. So that is why the distribution of GDP, how uniform it is. See here example, if the GDP of the country is rising, the welfare may not rise as a consequence. Why? See, this is because the rise in GDP be concentrated in the hands of very few individual or firms. For the rest, the income may in fact have fallen. In such a case, the welfare of the entire country cannot be said to have increased. So see again, here example is given. For example, suppose in year 2000, an imaginary country had 1000 individual each earning suppose rupees 10. Therefore, the GDP of the country was 1000 by the income method. In the income method, what we have to do? Income is multiplied. So in income method, to the income method, whatever income we get, this is the for wages is salary, or for labor is salary or wages, for land is rent. So when we'll add this, we'll get the total income of the country by the income method. Suppose in 2000 whatever the example is given, 100 individual and their earning is 10. So according to income method, it is 1000 the income. Suppose in 2001, let us suppose the same country, means country is not the, suppose same country, whatever country is taken in 2000 year, suppose same country is suppose earning 20. Suppose there had been no changes in the prices of goods and services between these two periods, and the GDP of the country in the year 2001, it is 90 into 9 plus 10 into 20, it is 820 plus 200. Means what is this is? Here it is said that earning 10s 100 individual. Here it is said 90 individual, 9 each. So when we will calculate 90 into 9, we will get 810, and when it is 10 into 20, then we will get 200. So here see, this is the 1010. So see the difference. In the 2000, individual was 100. In 2001, individual is 90. So in 2000, income of the people is increased, but not whole. Here only 90. So see the difference. So compared to 2000, the GDP of the country in 2000 was higher by 10, but this is happen when 90% of the people of the country have seen a drop in their real income by 10%. So this is the fact. Again see, whereas only 10% have benefited by rise in their income by 100%. Only 10% people are benefited in 2001. So that is why what? That is why 90% of the people are also for the GDP of the country has gone up. If we relate welfare improvement in the country to the percentage of people who are better off, then surely GDP is not a good index. Means in the example, the development of income only in 2000 only the 90%, but in the 2000 it was 100%. So in 2001 it is increase in income, but only the 90% people increase. Income of the 90% people increase. So that is why we cannot say that GDP is a good index. Again, another reasons why GDP is not considered as the best indicator of the welfare. See the second, Non-monetary exchange. Non-monetary exchange means in the class 11 we have discussed two activities. What are the two activities? We have discussed, one is monetary activities and second is non-monetary activities. See, many activities in an economy are not evaluated in monetary terms. For example, the domestic service women perform at home are not paid for. The actions which takes place in the informal sector without the help of money are called barter actions. So here see, in barter actions, goods or services are directly exchanged against each other, but since money is not being used here, so these exchanges are not registered as part of economic activity. You see, when we are calculating or estimating national income, we take only the money value of goods and services. What? Money value of goods and services, but which are not connected with money, that activities are not included in the national income. So that is why, but in our country there are some activities which are not related to money. You see, your mother is suppose cooking food to your family, so for that she will not get anything or money, she will not get money. So this is not a work, this is work, but in national income it is not included. So that is why, see, in developing countries where many remote regions are underdeveloped, these kinds of actions do not take place. There are some actions, means barter system, but there is no intervention of the money, only the goods are exchanged directly with goods. So these are activities not included in the underdeveloped country. These are the activities because this is not related to money, so that is why their GDP low. So again see, but they are generally not counted in the GDP of these countries, and this is a case of underestimation of GDP. Hence GDP calculated in this standard manner may not give a clear indication of the productive activity and well-being of a country. Next topic, why GDP is not considered the best indicator of a country for the development. See, third is externality. Externality means, see, externality refers to the benefit or harms a firm. Mean externalities have two effects. It may be benefit or it may be harms to others. A firm or an individual causes to another for which they are not paid or penalized. Externalities do not have any market in which they can bought and sold. What is externalities? See, let us suppose there is an oil refinery which refines crude petroleum and sell it in the market. The output of the refinery is the amount of oil it refines. We can estimate the value added of the refinery by deducting the value of intermediate goods used by the refinery, crude oil in this case, from the value of output. The value added of the refinery will be counted as part of GDP of the economy. But carrying out the production, the refinery may also be polluting. See the important point, polluting the nearby river, and this may cause harm to the people who use the water of the river. So hence there will be will fall. Pollution may also kill fish and other organisms of the river on which fish survive. As a result, the fishermen of the river may be losing their livelihood. So such harmful effects that the refinery is inflicting on others for which it will not be bear any cost are called externalities. So see, by setting the industries or from the oil crude, we are getting money. Country also able to get the income. But for producing this crude oil, money is come. But by producing this, whatever the wastage and whatever the problem of pollution will create, for that will be the give cost. So that is in this situation. So some of the person will affected. So this is the harms of the externalities. Again I am telling the benefits. What is benefit? See, suppose in your neighbor, suppose they are making a beautiful garden. but you are the neighbor. Suppose you are seeing this garden, and for that you do not have to pay any money, but you are enjoying, you are getting a enjoyment that suppose by looking at the flower. So this is a what benefit from the externalities. So that both this case, bad or benefits or harms, this not take into account in the national income, because this is not related to the money. So see, therefore, if we take GDP as a measure of welfare of the economy, we shall be overestimating the actual welfare. This is an example of negative externality, and there can be negative externality means this pollution, this polluted or pollution come from the industry. For that, the river, whatever the living animals are using this water, they are harmful, they are maybe affecting. So that is why this is the negative externalities. This is not included in the national income, and there can be a case of positive externality as well. In such cases, GDP will underestimate the actual welfare of the economy, means GDP not included this type of cost. So that is why these three causes we cannot say that GDP is the good indicator of the economy. So this is all about the relationship between GDP and welfare. So you should read again this GDP and welfare. On this topic, definitely question will come in the exam. Again, we have discussed this also, nominal and real GDP. Again, we have discussed also GDP deflator and base year and constant price or current year. This is already discussed also. Next year example is given for GDP deflator, you just see it. Next we have discussed consumer price index, this is the example. Next we have discussed wholesale price index. So I hope you understand. So in the next video we will discuss another topic. So thank you.